and welcome back to the debate. We're going to focus our attention now on England. 2 games coming up, one against the USA, that is a friendly on Thursday, followed by the game against Croatia, which is quite a crucial one in the Nations League. But first of all, guys, we're going to focus on this England game against the USA because it's been up for debate, not only in this room, but also the entire media. Lots of people wavering on their decision on whether or not they think Wayne Rooney should be included in this team or not. Stuart, I'm going to start with you and just ask for your initial reaction when you heard the news that Wayne Rooney will be involved in some way.
Well, I heard that it was going to be a charitable game for Wayne's Foundation. I thought, fantastic, really good. Wayne playing in the States at the moment, I thought coming back in some capacity to actually go on the pitch, play and get a cap, I'm totally against it. Cheapens an international cap and I don't think it's right. But I think Wayne being at the game, Wayne being honoured by the fans in some capacity, fantastic for what he's done for England football, in English football. But to actually, you know, to come back as a, you know, bring the crowd in type scenario is not for me.
We'll get your views in a minute, guys, but we asked you for your England 11 against the USA. We're going to show it to the viewers at home, and we just want you to talk it through, not only your formation, but the different names, because it looks rather experimental. It's quite interesting. Yeah,
it does. Bear in mind, this is the friendly before the game against the big one on Sunday against Croatia. I think the back four, Chilwell was fantastic in the last 2 internationals, and I think he deserves to be playing again. Gomez is just getting better and better by the game. Pickford's fantastic and the standout goalkeeper. The other 2 in Stones and Walker speak for themselves. Yeah. I think Henderson playing that anchor role has made the position his own. You know, he's gone past Dyer in respect to that. Barkley, I thought, done quite well when he had the opportunity last time out. Lingard being a more aggressive front-running type player in midfield. And I thought Sancho, for the bit part he had last month as well, done very well. And I would like to see Rashford carry on with his international. I think Rashford enjoys his football when he's got an England shirt on. I'm not seeing him enjoy his football with a United shirt on at this moment in time, so I'd stick with him. And I think Callum Wilson, I'd like to see.
That's a big call, that one.
Yeah, it is, but it's a friendly, and that's what these friendlies are for. I think we know Harry Kane's going to play when it comes to the big game on Sunday, but I would like to see Callum Wilson. I think he's done really well in the Premier League and see how he gets on.
And Andy, let's bring it back to Wayne Rooney. He wasn't in your starting 11. Let's bring him back to Wayne Rooney.
Strangely.
and your thoughts on whether or not he gets 10 minutes at the end, 5 minutes at the end, whether he plays the whole game. Yeah. Do you think that he should be included in this friendly?
No. I have to totally agree with Stuart, and I think you can honour him in so many different ways nowadays. Before the game, bring him on at the end of the game, or I mean, just walk him out onto the pitch. I think once you've retired, from international football, you've retired. You're done. That's it. And for the FA, I think they've cobbled something together here without really thinking it through. It's probably put Wayne in a bit of an awkward spot now as well, because I bet when he first heard about it, he thought, "Wow, that's great. That'll be exciting for me and the family." Now all of a sudden, it's created a debate which is kind of split down the middle, and lots of people are saying yeah and lots are saying no, and it's probably made him feel a little bit awkward, which it shouldn't do. What would have been better would have been he can have the Wayne Rooney suite, there can be a bronze statue of him somewhere because he's a highly decorated, very successful England player and deserves that, but no, he shouldn't be on the field now.
Does it undermine Gareth as well?
I think it puts him in an awkward position. You know, Gareth's fantastic at dealing with questions. You know, Andy's worked with him, I've worked with him, conducts himself brilliantly. But I think it's done exactly that. You know, it's put him in an awkward position that he has to come out on behalf of his employees and probably toe the party line and say, yeah, I think it's a really good thing. It's right and proper in doing it. But whether he believes that in his heart of hearts, who knows?
Gareth's all been about younger lads. Turn the players over. Let's see what others can do. Let's keep it going forward, you know. And this is a bit of a retro step.
Do you think it would have been the case if it hadn't been against the USA?
Probably not.
Don't know, Kris. It might. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, because it's come out that way, maybe. But
does it go against his philosophy? Is that what you're saying? It goes against Gareth's philosophy and the feel-good factor that was created after the World Cup, and also the game against Spain as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, England have gained genuine momentum over the last 6 months under Gareth, and he went in there as a bit of a rookie manager with some question in the appointment from day one, and he's he's been brilliant the way that he's turned that round. He's done it in his own way, in his own style, and he should be allowed to continue that model, that way forward. This, you know, look, he's not going to lose any sleep over it, but this is one that I think he could have done without.
Is this the wrong move by the FA, if it has come from them?
I think it is. Because here's another one for you. What do you do if he scores 2 goals or that, or 3 goals at the end of the game as well?
You recall him.
They'll be wanting back in the next squad as well.
But it was his decision to walk away from England and to retire, so it does feel like perhaps a step back.
Yeah, but I think, you know, we've touched on everything there. You know, I don't think it was Gareth's choice. The FA have obviously wanted to bring Wayne back to honour him, rightly so, for what he's done for English football. But as Andy said, there's ways to do it. And coming on and getting a cap. And I think also as well, that last 10-15 minutes of a game could be, you know, if Harry Kane's to start, it could be Callum Wilson's 10-15 minutes that you could have seen the opportunity for him to come on and stake a claim.
Yeah.
OK, so this is all in the build-up, of course, to the Nations League game. Let's have a little look at the table and see where England sit at the moment. That game against Croatia is coming up on Sunday. All 3 teams can qualify, Spain, England and Croatia. Whoever doesn't, whoever finishes at the bottom, will be relegated. And in fact, it's a hard group when you look at these teams that are in it. It's a difficult one. Stuart, how do you see this playing out?
I think we'll win on Sunday against Croatia. I really do. I can see Spain going to Croatia and getting a result. I think Croatia are sort of in the middle of a hangover. They achieved a massive high at the World Cup, you know, getting to the final was fantastic for them, and I think they've just dropped away slightly from that. So I expect us to win, but I also expect Spain to go and get a result away.
Let's have a little look in more detail at that team that played Spain, the starting 11, and just figure out, I want your thoughts on whether or not this is the right team to go forward and how much we like it. We saw in the World Cup that Gareth had the back 3 with the full-backs, the wing-backs, but now we go to a back 4. Is this the right way to move forward, Andy? Well,
look, I mean, I'm a big John Stones fan, so I would always want to find a spot for him. Gomez is so quick and so powerful. Harry Maguire has moved leaps and bounds in over the last few years. You know, I think there's some very good players. Harry Winks, I watched him for Spurs against Barcelona at Wembley in the Champions League. He was terrific. Improving, all improving. You're not going to get far away from that, Laura. I don't think you've got to venture too far from what you see there. But my personal take would probably be, I think I wouldn't have Eric Dyer there. I wouldn't have him in if as Stuart just said, if Eric does a very good job, he drops in between Gomez and Maguire, and then the fullbacks can fly forward and everyone can play a bit narrower in front of that. But I think ultimately, if you want to, for England to go to the next level, they might need something a little bit more creative and something a little bit better possession-based in that position.
What are your thoughts, Stuart? We saw your starting 11 for USA, but is this the team that will move forward in a competitive match?
I thought when Gareth changed to a back 4, I thought it was a real big gamble, is probably the best word I could use. I thought that, you know, he'd switched to a back 3 during the World Cup, after the World Cup, and I thought, yeah, we look good, the players look comfortable in a back 3. I really enjoy playing in a back 3 and seeing England teams playing a 3. And he changed it to a 4, and I thought, wow, that's a real brave thing to do. But I tell you what, it worked seamlessly, and for me, that was the next step in the evolution of Gareth as a manager and the team as well, that they can switch from a 3 to a 4 seamlessly, basically.
And just finally, I just wanted your thoughts on the front 3 of Sterling, Kane and Rashford as a forward yourself, whether you think that's threatening in world football.
Oh, it's definitely threatening. You only need to see the way they tore Spain apart that night. You know, but for me, I mean, Harry Kane will always score goals, but it's the other guys at the other side of him, willing to run beyond him, that allows Harry Kane to drop in and get the ball, and you know, then you've got runners running beyond him, causing teams problems. And also, you know, when you do that, it allows Harry Kane to, you know, get into areas in the box. You know, how many tap-ins have we seen him score for England as well? You know, it's not a fluke. You know, it's down to the guys running off him and then him being allowed to do what he does best, to score goals.
OK, let's focus on Scotland then. They're second in the group at the moment, Israel are top. 2 big games coming up. We're going to have a look at their table now and just get your thoughts about this, Kris. In terms of what do you think they can get out of these 2 results, these next 2 games, Albania and Israel? Albania is at home and Albania is away and Israel is at home. At the moment, they're second in the group. In fact, first of all, do you think that they are performing to the best of their ability at the moment in the Nations League?
No, but I think they will win these 2 games. I think they will. You know, I think Albania, when they were at Hampden, were arguably one of the worst teams I've ever seen. You know, play at Hampden. Israel, Scotland were poor in Israel. You would expect Scotland to be a lot better next week and hopefully beat Israel there. But, you know, the big problem for Alec right now is the amount of call-offs for me. You know, people not wanting to turn up. You know, I was one of the first ones to, you know, at the start to say I didn't think Gordon should have went at the time. You know, the squad was healthy. There was competition for places, as is England have got right now. People are turning up with a smile on their face, enjoying it. You know, there's people pulling out right, left and centre right now, which is a worry.
Deeper problems and wider problems. Is that something that's going to be very difficult to fix? Is it? How do you fix that?
I don't know. You know, I mean, obviously when you're winning games of football. But I think when you get close to maybe getting to a major competition, like, you know, towards the end with Gordon, that a lot of the players believed, you know, this long wait could be over, we could get to a major competition. So you always want to be part of that to, you know, hopefully get on the plane if you were to get there. But, you know, again, I think it's, you know, it's went backwards since Gordon left. And, you know, I think that the players might have that, you know, the aging ones are like, why am I going to go? Because I'm just wasting my time. I could go and spend it with my family, enjoy the time away from football, which is, you know, it's worrying, you know, because I don't really see a lot of youngsters coming through either. I know Alec and, you know, a lot of people in Scotland have said that there is a lot of youngsters coming through. For me, there's not. I think what there is a lot of players at 24, 25, 26, inexperienced, picking up the first caps. You know, because it's the first cap, it doesn't mean to say they're young.
From the players that want to play and that are turning up and playing for their country, who do you expect will have a big couple of games in this team?
Well, I think it's Stephen Fletcher's come back into the squad. Ollie McBurney's doing well for Swansea as well. You know, I would like to see maybe they 2 up front as a partnership, because when you look at, you know, when you miss Stephen Naismith, he's been excellent for Scotland the last few games, and then obviously there's the Lee Griffiths scenario, which is a problem, especially the last international gathering. You know, he's been injured since then when he went to work in his fitness. But you know, I think Stephen Fletcher coming back in, you know, for me, he's a player who I don't really think has hit, you know, he had a lot of potential as a young kid, and I don't really think he's hit that. And hopefully over the next few Scotland games he can do that. But he's not getting any younger either, which is a worry.
There's a lot of criticism for Scotland in the media. Do you think it's warranted?
Well, I think when you're not getting results, you're always going to be criticised. But I'm going back to what I said earlier with the guys calling off that have called off. You know, for me, that's worrying. As I said, Gordon was leaving people out the squad, good players. You know, now Alec can't get them to even come. You know, people like Matt Ritchie and that don't want to be even considered for selection. MacArthur, Snodgrass and people like that as well. So, you know, it's guys who have done well in previous campaigns who are not wanting to turn up. And I'm going back to, you know, they're maybe getting to that latter stage of their career where, you know, they want to just, when you get, you know, the Premier League, the Championships, it's hard going. When you get that, you know, week off, you maybe just want to relax, which is worrying for Scotland.
Andy, let's get your thoughts. So there's an international friendly coming up, Republic of Ireland against Northern Ireland.
Yep.
What have you made of the campaign so far, Republic of Ireland?
Yeah, it's not been great. It's not been good. And I was actually in Dublin for the game recently against Wales, and it was interesting for me after, because Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane, on the back of the situation with Harry Arter, etc., seem to be getting a lot of stick. It's par for the course for managers. There's never enough accountability in those above the manager. I wouldn't change Martin and Roy now, because I think we're in an era when managers organically, their contracts run out, they expire. Martin's been around a long time. He would naturally, I'm sure, at some point think, yeah, I've had enough. I've done what I can do and I'm going to step aside, whenever that may be. But the people that run the game, they're the ones that aren't doing enough. John Delaney's been in charge over there now for a long time and hasn't really, I don't think, done enough over the last few years in terms of seeing the type of player that a manager can really, really use and make the difference with. 6 out of our current squad, 6 out of the squad, have played 7 or more Premier League games this season. Now, I don't care what sort of manager. You could have Guardiola and Mourinho in charge of our team at the moment. I'm telling you now, with with those stats like that, they're going to find it difficult to consistently win games. We don't have enough, and that's not Martin's fault. The accountability for that is those sitting on the corridors of power, and they've got to be doing more. You know, and I think no one owns the rights to a national team. People have been there a long time. They've done their best. Maybe they've got to step aside.
We see it with Wales, don't we? Managing to
Do you
get
know,
to young
they
players
all of a
early.
sudden they seem to have a few young players now. Ryan's got some good young talent that's coming through.
Ethan Ampadu, of course, from Chelsea.
Absolutely, Ampadu, young Brooks, who's been playing at Bournemouth. You know, fantastic. Harry Wilson, good young players. Now, you know, at the moment we're trying to win games without recognised Premier League strikers, and we just don't have those players. And I think that some of the criticism aimed at Martin and Roy has been over the top and a bit unfair. They'll have to take their responsibility for certain performances, and I'm sure they'll hold their hands up. But ultimately, we're not generating the sort of players that we have done previously. Why didn't the Robbie Keane, Damien Duff era, why did that not spawn the next generation? It hasn't seemed to have done that. And that's not managers' fault. It's not Trapattoni's or Martin's fault. That's those above.
Let's have a little look at the group then, and I just want your thoughts on how you think that this group is going to play out then, and where you think they're going to finish at the moment.
Well, we'll probably end up getting relegated out of that group. I mean, you know, we've got a particularly tough game coming up on Monday after the friendly, and you know that's not going to be easy to go to Denmark and get a win. Not impossible, but on the face of it, you would imagine we're going to go there, and if we come away with a draw or something, it'll have been a good result. So we'll probably end up getting relegated out of that, and then finding qualification for the 2020 Euros all the more harder. It's not going to be easy. Look, it is what it is. The lads are as honest as the days long, are very committed, and I'm sure will be doing everything they possibly can. But you know, on the outside looking in, you've only got to look at the numbers, and you've only got to look at the guys that are playing. There's a lot of kids in there desperate for a chance. Hopefully they'll get one. But we're just lacking those special players, those quality players that we might have had from previous years.